Dear friends, welcome to InQUEST. In this video, let's discuss about 2nd November 2021 daily current affairs useful for your UPSC, KPSC and all other competitive exams. Let's see the index of today's discussion. Number 1, Punjab sets to improve habitat for Indus dolphins. So Indus dolphins are found to be one of the endangered species. So that is the reason why Punjab is all set to improve the habitat of the same. So let's find out the complete details in this article. So article number 2, since we have come to the conclusion of G20 summit, so we need to understand the key takeaways of this particular or key decisions or outcomes of G20 summit. So what are the key decisions? Number 1, no time-bound pacts on climate change at G20. So once again, there is no time-bound on pacts related to climate change. So let us understand what is this no time-bound pacts. At the same time, no commitments to ending domestic coal consumption. So there is no commitment for domestic coal consumption, but they have ended international financing for coal plants development henceforth by the end of 2021. So that is really a very good move. So article number 3, ahead of COP26, Indian site highlights emission gap. So a group of researchers of India, they have developed a website that actually highlights emission gap of developed countries and developing countries ahead of COP26. So in this article, we need to understand the website and the complete details. So article number 4, India and World Bank sign an agreement to strengthen health system in Meghalaya. So in this article, we need to understand the key areas of health sector that will be intended to improve in the state of Meghalaya with the assistance of World Bank. So with this, let's go to the first article. So Punjab is all set to improve the habitat for Indus dolphins. So here, so one point that you need to remember here is you should not get confused with Ganges River dolphins and Indus dolphins. Both are different. So I'm talking about Indus dolphins. I'll give details about Ganges River dolphins later in this presentation. The census of one of the world's most threatened cetaceans, the Indus River dolphins, that is scientifically called as Platanista gangnetica minor, a freshwater dolphin that is found in River Bias, is all set to commence in the winter as a part of the project by the center. So this is actually world's most threatened. So this is the cetacean. The cetacean is nothing but those species that actually live in water, and this is Indus River dolphin. So this is world's most threatened species, and census of this will be conducted by center in the winter as the part of their project. However, Punjab's wildlife preserving wing has gone a step ahead to not only protect the dolphins but also their natural habitat. So meanwhile, the Punjab's wildlife preserving wing, in order to improve the numbers of dolphins, not just to protect the dolphins, it is equally important to protect or improve their natural habitat. So when the natural habitat is improved, automatically the number of these dolphins is going to improve. So that's the reason why the Punjab's wildlife preserving wing is committed to improve the natural habitat for dolphins. The Indus River dolphin is classified as endangered by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, and until recently it was believed that these dolphins were endemic to Pakistan. So according to IUCN, these Indian river dolphins are categorized as endangered. Dear friends, we have made one complete video on IUCN. If you want to know more details of IUCN, we will have given the link in the comment section. You may click the link and find out the complete details of IUCN. But for now, so according to IUCN, this Indus River dolphins are categorized as endangered. And until now, I mean to say before 2007, it was believed that these Indus River dolphins were endemic, or they are believed to be living only in Pakistan. But in the year 2007, a remnant but viable population of Indus dolphins was discovered in Punjab's Harike Wildlife Sanctuary and in the lower Bias River. So later in 2007, it was also found out that good number of these dolphins are living in Harike Wildlife Sanctuary, that is lower Bias River of Punjab state as well. And the Indus River dolphin was declared as the state aquatic animal of Punjab in the year 2019. So alongside research, importance will be on engaging the riparian communities. So riparian communities is nothing but communities living on the banks of a river is called as riparian communities by encouraging community-led biological monitoring. So villages around the hotspot sites of dolphin occurrence will be developed as models for community-led conservation. So those villages which are there near the hotspots of these dolphins will be developed as models for community-led conservation. So extension of programs will be held to develop a group of dedicated individuals called Bias Dolphin Mitras. So there will be a group of dedicated individuals that will be created, and that is named as Bias Dolphin Mitras of the river Bias. So now what do you mean by Bias Dolphin Mitras? That is nothing but friends and protectors of these dolphins. The project also will embark on dolphin ecotourism as well. So if you just look at the map here, we have mentioned about Bias and Harike Wildlife Sanctuary. So this is the state of Punjab, and this is the pattern of flow of this Bias river. So as I told, it comes in the lower part of the Bias river. Harike is here, so it comes in the lower part of the Bias. And this is where we have Pakistan. So until 2007 or before 2007, it was believed that these Indian dolphins, Indus dolphins, are believed to be endemic to only Pakistan. But later it was found that they're also living in Harike part of Punjab. So the other dolphin, as I mentioned in the commencement of this presentation, that is called as Ganges River dolphin. They are different. So the Ganges River dolphin has been recognized by the Government of India as its national aquatic animal. So it is also known by the name Susu, and in Bengali it is called as Shushuk. So this is the other popular name of this Ganges River dolphin. So with this, let's go to the article number 2. No time-bound pacts on climate change at G20, and no commitment to ending domestic coal consumption. So these are the key outcomes of G20 summit that ended recently. So no time-bound agreements were reached as the leaders of the world top economies ended the summit in Rome, recommitting to provide $100 billion a year to counter climate change. So as per the norms of UNFCCC, the developed countries are supposed to fund developing countries $100 billion every year to counter climate change. So once again, they have recommitted the same, but there is no time bound. So this is what is the major outcome. So this is once again is doubtful or skeptical about the pattern of funding even this year as well, and pushing for greater vaccine equality to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. So this is a new inclusion, or I think this is a better outcome to push for greater vaccine equality. There should be vaccine available across all the countries across the world to prevent COVID-19. So G20 countries also committed to ending international financing for all new coal plants by the end of 2021. So this is a great move. So there won't be any international financing for any new coal plants in any other country by 2021. So no other country will fund for creating coal plants in any other country by the end of 2021. But they made no mention of the domestic commitments on ending coal power generation. So there is no commitment on coal usage with respect to domestic consumption or usage of coal with respect to power generation. The final communique agreed upon only the key relevance of the achieving global net zero on carbon emission by or around mid-century. So by or around mid-century, it is agreed upon to achieving global net zero. So what is net zero? We have done in one of our previous videos. You can check in the playlist to find out the meanings of the same. So amongst the other highlights of the statement was a decision to pursue the recognition of more vaccines by the World Health Organization under the One Health approach for the world. So under One Health approach for the world, so it has been also agreed upon, or decision was taken to improve the recognition of more vaccines by the World Health Organization, and providing finances and technology for vaccine production at mRNA hubs in South Africa, Brazil, and Argentina, where we actually find least developed countries. So that is the reason why the vaccines have to be pushed to these regions as well. So that is the reason why there should be financial assistance and technology transfer with respect to vaccine production at mRNA hubs in South Africa, Brazil, and Argentina, and to mobilize more international public-private financing for green projects, nothing but sustainable related projects. So with this, let's go to article number 3, ahead of COP26, Indian site highlights emission gap. Site is nothing but the website that has been created by Indian researchers that actually highlights the differences between the emission of developed and developing countries. So let's find out the complete details. A day ahead of the commencement of 26th United Nations Conferences of Parties in Glasgow, Scotland, India has officially endorsed a website made by Indian climate experts that lists the historical carbon dioxide emission of the developed countries. So historical carbon dioxide emission in the sense it is post industrial era. So after industrial era, the amount of carbon that is emitted by the developed countries will be mapped in this particular website, and this is created by the Indian climate experts. This is actually a website. The database aims to highlight the disparity between the emissions of the developed and developing countries, with countries such as United States, Canada, and Australia, and those in Western Europe shown as having net carbon debt, while developing countries such as India, China having net credit. So if you just look at the per capita emission, so we need to make sure this keyword, that is per capita emission. So if you look at the per capita emission, in developed countries, like in case of United States, Canada, Australia, and Western Europe, they're having net carbon debt. I mean to say their emission is greater compared to developing countries such as India and China. They are having net credit. But overall, if you look at the quantum of emission, though we are present at top ranks, India and China, but if you just take the per capita emission, I mean to say the emission quantity with respect to the population of the country, so we are at net credit. But developed countries like US, Canada, and Australia, they have net carbon debt. That means compared to their population, their carbon emission is greater. So the key fact that the database highlights is that it is only fair that developed countries must commit to steeper targets towards curbing emissions than developing countries. So looking at those particular situations with respect to the quantum of carbon that is being emitted by developed and developing countries, it looks that developed countries are major contributors of these emissions. So that is the reason why it is fair that developed countries must commit to steeper targets. It's not that they give equal targets to other countries as well, so they should take more steeper targets to reduce this emission. So India is the third largest emitter of carbon emission annually, but the sixth largest when historical emissions are considered, and when accounting for the size of its population, it is among the lowest per capita emitters. So three kinds of measurement here. One is annual emission of carbon, other one is historical emission of carbon, other one is per capita emitter. So if you take annually, we are at third position. If we take historically, that means post industrial era, we are at the sixth position. So if you take per capita emission, so we are not at all there in the topmost list. So it is the lowest per capita emitters we are in. So this underlines India's demand for climate justice being at the heart of the negotiations, and its reluctance to agree to fix a time frame to reach net zero, or when in balance it will cease to emit greenhouse gases. So that is the reason why the country our country is not coming to any deadline with respect to achieving net zero, because we are kind of reluctant to particularly achieving net zero, because looking at per capita emission, we are actually at the lowest of the ranks. And the climate equity monitor, so this is actually the website, so you need to remember this. This is the climate equity monitor, as the site is called, is aimed at monitoring the performance of Annex 1 parties under UNFCCC. Annex 1 is nothing but developed countries, based on the foundational principles of the climate convention. The performance and policies of non-Annex 1 parties, I mean to say developing countries, will be provided for comparison. So as I told you in the beginning of this article, there will be comparison between developing countries. So developing countries are called as non-Annex 1 countries according to UNFCCC, and developed countries are called as Annex 1 countries. So the emission of both the countries will be developed or mapped in this particular website based on the foundational principles. So this is what the article is all about. At the same time, the website was conceptualized and developed by the climate change group at the MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, Chennai, and the Natural Science and Engineering Department at the National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bengaluru, with other independent researchers. So this is the team that has actually developed this particular website. So with this, let's go to the last article. So this is related to Ministry of Finance. India and World Bank sign an agreement to strengthen health system in Meghalaya. So let's find out the complete details. So Government of India, Government of Meghalaya and World Bank sign $40 million health project for the state of Meghalaya on 28th October 2021. The project will improve the quality of health services and strengthen the state's capacity to handle future health emergencies, including COVID-19 pandemic. So as we saw, most of these states in India struggle to handle COVID-19. So in order to make sure that we are ready for such pandemics in future, at the same time to improve the quality and health services, this funding is going to definitely help us because this improves in capacity building. So the Meghalaya Health System Strengthening Project will enhance the management and governance capabilities of the state and its health facilities. So this is going to strengthen the governance capabilities of the state and also in the sector of health facilities. Then expand the design and coverage of the state's health insurance program, improve the quality of health service through certification and better human resource system, and enable efficient access to medicines and diagnostics. So these are the key areas that will be developed under this finance pattern. So all 11 districts of the states will benefit from the project. So this will be kind of used across all the districts of the state, and it will also benefit health sector staff at the primary and secondary level by strengthening their planning and management capabilities and build their clinical skills. So there will be skill improvement of these medical staff as well. That means the primary and secondary level health sector staff, by improving their planning and management capabilities and building their clinical skills. The project will enable women to better utilize healthcare services at the community level. So these are the articles of the day. If you have any questions, you can put in comments box. Thanks for watching. Namaskara.